Saturdays with Lyer. It's 9 AM and I'm sat on the Gucci loafer watching The Undertaker versus Yokozuna at the 1994 Royal Rumble. The Undertaker is being absolutely weighed in by about 20 Shrewsbury wrestlers and he's thrown into a casket when suddenly I get the urge to ask the missus something.
Here, babe, you fancy going for a Dwight York? And she replies, yeah, all right. Lovely. Back to the voiceovers.
I brush my empties and I jump into David Gower and have a proper wash of me gooch and Jackie Deggs. I'm currently using that green shower gel that makes your walnut and curtain pelmet tingly. Outfit time, Roy Kings by M&S, cream top by Reese, tennis racket All Saints. I've got the Martin Clunes absolutely blaring out of the Tracy Beakers, so I'm properly cutting a rug as I'm putting me Perry Groves on. I spin anti-clockwise into me clobber and I roll me Christopher Reeves up to accentuate me tattoos and armpit hair. I flick me tennis racket on and then I do me Robert De Niro impression to two squirrels looking on from the branch of an oak tree. I right fancy wearing a pair of daisies today, so I decide to go with me rough out Crockett and Jones Chelseas. They come with a day-night Andy Cole, which means you can wear them in the day or the night. I finished the Kelly Brook off by whacking on some spiritual beads that I bought from Top Man and a couple of Ledley Kings, and then I spray myself with some Tom Ford Ombre Stella. I smell like a combination of DFS and an old ashtray. I burst out of me Roger Moore like a cat with mustard on its nose, and I make my way down the Brian McClares like prime Anton de Beck. I'm absolutely buzzing too because the entrance door is already open, so that's one less thing that I've got to do. However, immediately I realise I've got my outfit Chris Armstrong. The MC neat is far hotter than I expected coming from the David Dunn.
It's gonna be too hot. I've got to get changed.
Internally, I've got the right Forrest Gump, but I quickly get changed and slip into something a little more appropriate and sexy. I'm also double badging, so I look double hard. I've been out less than 6 seconds, and to my dismay, someone's dumped a line bike smack bang in the middle of the Paul McGrath, forcing me to awkwardly get round it. Park life! I bowl up the David Pleat and the sun is hotter than Margot Robbie. I'm feeling so confident. Everywhere you look, there's crumpet and wasps. As I continue with me mooch, I walk past the Anglers pub and everything is telling me to have a couple of morning Britney Spears. But I decide to battle it out and I keep walking like Frodo on his way to Croydon. Mordor. I cut over the Wayne Routledge and I've got a proper Mick Jagger with me stride. I've got ABC's Poison Arrow in me head and I'm gasping for a Ray Meir. Once I get to the other side of the bridge, I don't go Mark Bright. I chuck a packet of Dreft and head down the Brian McClares. I slide my tennis racket off and I hold it in a way that oozes confidence and sex appeal. I bowl past Teddit and Lock and I eye up all the Pauline Fowler and boats. I notice a beautiful, tranquil segment of sun, arching its rays of vitamin D down on a symmetrical spot in the rainforest. I take a moment to take it in, and then a fly hits me in the ear. I continue on with my Dwight York and I enjoy the momentary respite that the Alicia Keys give me from the sun. Then out of nowhere I Richard Gere the sound of a boozer and I see that there's one across the ocean. I don't know how, but all I know is I have to get there. I think about diving in and swimming, but then I remember I haven't got my armbands. I see a group of vegans on their middle-class surfboards. You know, the ones you stand on and paddle with a Ronald de Boer. I try and get their attention to flag them down and see if I can get a lift. My missus keeps filming me and then I come up with a genius idea of how to get across the son and daughter. Call Bill the boat. We called him that because he's got a face and a boat.
All right, Bill, any chance you can pick us up, mate? I'm by the Martin Chiver. I ain't got the faintest notion how to get across the ocean.
Bill turns up in exactly 17 seconds and we climb aboard and we have a proper good catch-up.
Yeah, my old man, he's got a boat, about 0 to 60 in 8 days. I love ships, you know, travelling across the old Martin Chiver. So I've grabbed him like that and I'm going crack, right, and there was about 36 Millwall. Luckily, my mate was with me. We call him the pint of milk because he's always going off. Boats and hoes. Everybody knows it's boats and hoes. What are you doing now? You fancy a couple of pints of Paul Weller?
Love it.
Yeah? What time are you finishing?
6.
All right, sweet. I'll get old Tony to pick you up on his skateboard, yeah?
I get off the creosote and I cut through a park and head in the direction of the boozer. I'm absolutely gagging for a cold cucarella. I walk past a couple of Nile Quins that are full with Gary Glitter. I get round the Christian Orner and I say hello to my best mate Akabusi, who's got an Airbnb in this beautiful James Ward Press.
Yeah, all right, sweet. Give me a call later, Boos. Just chatting with Boosie. He's going to come out for a couple of Paul Wellers.
I can see the battle cruiser on the horizon. I'm on the final stretch. I feel like I've run a marathon in steel-toe cap predators. There are crowds of people congregating in the MC Neat, getting out of their nicky butts, and I'm about to join them. We get to the White Swan and I walk up the Brian McClares with so much confidence. I get up the Thomas Lamar and immediately I order a nice cold Asahi and the missus a white wine fritzel. I tell them to put it on me Phil Bab. That first sip from that beautiful warm plastic cup is an absolute taste sensation in me north and south. I take a seat on the Rosemary Herb and People Watch as I top up me Jackie Chan. We play a few frames of Snap whilst getting a few more Britneys down our Danny Welbecks. After lining me stomach with Penelope Cruz, I decide to mooch on and continue up towards Twickenham. I noticed Joe Exotic Trevor Brooking out of his window at me, and then I stopped to admire this beautiful stingy nettles growing on the side of this lovely ass. Me missus told me they're actually called wisteria. I'm getting a bit hungry, but before I grab some Brady Bunch, I fancy getting a little bit of culture. So I cut into a secret doorway and walked past Eel Pie Island. This was the first place the Rolling Beatles ever did a gig. I cut into another secret passageway and I take in some proper architecture. This is some of Gary Wilmot's finest work. These naked birds were sculpted from truffle syrup and tetrium filler.
Look at the size of the raspberry ripple on her. This is how Henry VIII used to pleasure himself, you know, because there was no internet.
I grant myself a little pit stop and lean against a Davina McCall in a completely natural way. I take a moment to take in the Olivier Giroud. It's hard to believe that Mick Lennon actually played on this island. It's time to get some ravishing Rick Rude. I am utterly Hank Marvin, to the point where I could eat a whole can of baked beans. I bowl towards Church Street, a pucker little street filled with restaurants and battle cruisers. I decide to jump into Corto Italian Deli, a pucker authentic Italian gaff that does amazing sarnies. I ordered the spicy salami, gorgonzola, roasted peppers and rocket salad. She has the salami milanese, goat's cheese, walnut, honey and salad. The sarnies come out and I have a nice cold bottle of Peroni to wash it down with. The sandwich is off the Jimmy now. It's incredible, and there's a taste party going off in my north and south. I pay for the grub, and then I grab myself a nice pistachio gelato to go, and then I say thank you in fluent Italian.
Grazie. Grazie, arrivederci. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
I finish my gelato as a Dwight York, and then I mooch up Twickenham High Street, and I'm filled with so much Hudson Odoi because I've had a blinder of a David May. I've also promised to treat the missus to a bus home. I get on the bus and without hesitation I go straight for the upper deck. My missus can't believe it. I head for the back seats where the gangsters sit. This display of bravery can only be ascertained to the fact I'm wearing an Ivan Tony and double badging.